Bills Mafia, let me ask you something. Can you feel it? Bills, Saints, welcome to Bills Postgame. We're 4-0, baby. On to next week. Let's get started. Welcome to Sports for Beginners. This is the show where I cover the Pittsburgh Penguins, Toronto Blue Jays, and take you on a journey through the world of sports from the fans' perspective. Here is your host, Scott McGregor. Let's have some fun.
Where is he? Love it. Hey, man, that's a big time win. At home, great freaking job, man. Proud of you guys. Give yourself a round of applause. Listen, I'm serious, man. You got to celebrate it. I know we're better, and we will be better. It's a great reminder that we have work to do. We got to stay humble every week, but you have to celebrate these wins because they are hard to come by. They're hard to come by, man, and we figured a way to win, and that's the important piece. Offense, defense, special teams. At the end of the day, in the second half, we started playing together. Not in the first half as much, but in the second half, we started playing together, and you see how hard you are to beat. All right, let's celebrate a couple of things. Number one, your freaking will to win, man. It's incredible. Great job, Josh. Cole Bishop, first NFL interception. Get a game ball right here. We got a big-time celebration piece. Jimbo James Cook. Hang on. Broke a Bills all-time record. Great job. Appreciate you. Okay, goal line, tight ends, all those that block for him. Great job also. All right, hey, it's a great win, man. 1 o'clock win, right? Beautiful day in Western New York.
It doesn't get any better than this, Bills Mafia. Bills beat the New Orleans Saints 31-19, your final. Welcome in, Bills Mafia. Welcome in, football fans. I am Scott McGregor. Please call me Scott. Bills Mafia, can you feel it? Can you feel the energy from the crowd of Bills Mafia fans across the globe? Can you feel the energy in that locker room? Can you feel like something special's coming? 4-0, baby. What a way to win that game against the New Orleans Saints, a team that came into the week 0-3. We came into the week 3-0. Wow, what a win for our Buffalo team. James Cook, once again, absolutely rolling. Let James freaking Cook. Oh my God. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, on Bills Postgame, our Week 4 edition of the show. Here we go. As always, we like to open up with the coaches and quarterbacks. Spencer Rattler for the often and powerful New Orleans Saints. Kellen Moore against Sean McDermott. And of course, the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints is Spencer Rattler. We also have Tyler Snow. I'll go with Tyler S. Spencer Rattler coming into the game 0-9 in his NFL career. 0-9. He looked pretty good. Maybe he wasn't as good for the Saints, but the bottom line is Buffalo got the job done. 31-19 the final. We got two other games coming up on week number 4 of the season. We'll quickly let you in on who those are. In fact, one of those games is a game we are getting you set for. We are getting you set up for the Jets and the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. Also on Monday Night Football tonight, we got the Denver Broncos hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. A couple of the teams who played this week already will not play next week. They're going to be on the bye. Other teams will be back in action, like the Buffalo Bills. Real quick, final score of the fourth game of the season, but one of the games that we saw it play out on Thursday night, real quick here, was a good one. It was a good one. Cardinals versus Seahawks. Real quick. The 2-1 Seahawks against the 2-1 Cardinals, and the Seahawks come out of a stunning Cardinals comeback win. Seahawks win the game in the dying seconds. 23-20 was the final score, but the Cardinals came back. They almost pulled a Buffalo Bill from week 1. Also, the game down in Dublin featured the 2-1 Steelers. That was the Dublin, Ireland game, the 9:30 a.m. game. And with that said, the 2-1 Steelers took on the 2-1 Vikings of Minnesota. Minnesota fought hard, but the Steelers, with a 3-point win over the Vikings to improve to 3-1, they're on the bye. The Browns are 1-3 going into next week against the 2-1 Vikings. The 2-2 Vikings, I should say. And we'll get to the rest of Sunday's schedule from week number 4, excuse me, momentarily. But let's get down to business, shall we? I think we shall. The New Orleans Saints taking on the red-hot Buffalo Bills. Buffalo beat the Saints 31-6 last time out on November 25th, 2021. Also, the New Orleans Saints right now are bottom of their division in the NFC South. Buffalo, run by head coach Sean McDermott and quarterback Josh Allen. First in the division, the AFC East, is the Bills. They are 4-0, 3-0 coming into the game. Saints 0-3 coming into the game. Here's your line score from Orchard Park, New York at Highmark Stadium. The Highmark Stadium finale for the stadium they currently play in, because the new stadium opens up in 2026. September the 28th was the game. It was a 1 p.m. Your line score through quarter 1, it was 14-7 Buffalo. Buffalo up by 7 after a quarter of play. 14-10 at the half. 3-0 in favor of the Saints in the second quarter. 14-10 Buffalo at the half. Buffalo will end the day with 10 points in the fourth, 7 points in the third, and the Saints 6 points in the third quarter, 3 points in the fourth. Our final score, Bills 31, Saints 19. What a day for the Buffalo Bills. What a day for James Cook yesterday, Bills Mafia. All right, here we go. Before we go to our first break of the show, here we go. It is time to look at the scoring, and we're going to go ahead and do that via the CBS Sports app. Final score once again for the 2 games we went over from Sunday and Thursday. It is 23-20. Cardinals fall to the Seahawks. Hope everyone enjoyed their victory Friday rather, depending on when you were listening to your show. I also hope Steeler fans and Viking fans had a great watch of Steelers and the Vikings. Yes, the Vikings, it didn't end the way they wanted it to. They lose 24-20, 24-21, excuse me, to the Steelers. But the good news is, I don't believe the Vikings and the Steelers will play each other the rest of the way. We'll get to other finals later, but here we go. It's time for our first half breakdown. As always, we like to do it via scoring. So, here we go. In the first quarter, Josh Allen, on a 7-play drive, finds Kale Shakir for a 43-yard touchdown. What a run by Shakir. What a pass from Josh Allen. 7-0 Buffalo. Matt Prater, extra point, up and good. K'Andre Miller goes to the left for an 18-yard score. K. Miller going to the left guard for an 18-yard score. BG, the kicker for the Saints, his kick is up and good. That is BG, as what I will say, with the kick for the Saints. It's up and good. We're tied at 7-7. Buffalo 7, Saints 7. Later in the first quarter, James freaking Cook cooked that Saints defense, even though it was for a 1-yard touchdown in another 7-play drive. 7 play drives for Buffalo and the Saints scores. There were actually 9 plays for Buffalo's scoring opportunities. It's James Cook, a 1-yard touchdown. Matt Prater, extra point, up and in the books. 14. Let's go to the second quarter, where it's 14-7 Buffalo after a quarter of play. In the second quarter, on a 7-play drive, it's BG with a 54-yard field goal, and that is good. Buffalo leads at the half by 4. It is 14-10. Buffalo's still in front, but only by 14. And let's go to the second half scoring. We'll do so after a quick timeout when we return to Bills postgame. How did 14-10, 21-10, 21-16, 20-19, 8-19, and last but certainly not least, 31-19, which was our final. The third quarter, fourth quarter, when we return to Bills postgame. Also, when we return, game totals of Bills versus Saints. And of course, we'll give you the play of the game. So don't go anywhere. Play of the game, game stats, third and fourth quarter summary on the other side when we return right after this from Broadcast Map and Sienna T Radio, making your day brighter one song at a time.
Looking for conversations on the world of broadcasting, sports media, and from time to time, my favorite sports teams? Listen to Broadcast Map with me, Ali Musa. To learn more about the show and to view the upcoming schedule, like the Broadcast Map Facebook page. Search Broadcast Map.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo, two powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Sienna T Radio will never give you up. They will never let you down, nor will they run around or desert you. So join Nick Astley for The Melting Pot every Saturday on Sienna T Radio. Hang on a minute. He's not Nick Astley. Oh, jings, I've done it wrong. Anyway, just join Nick for The Melting Pot on Sienna T Radio.
Bills win 31-19. Welcome back to Bills Postgame. Welcome back to our Victory Monday edition of Bills Postgame. You heard in the opening, Sean McDermott and company talk victory speech. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate, yes, you heard me, congratulate James Cook on breaking a Bills all-time record. I want to bring him into the picture for a moment. We got James freaking Cook. Congratulations, James, on breaking a Bills all-time record for the most consecutive touchdowns by a running back since Thurman Thomas did it. Now, of course, I wasn't around during those eras, but I am around during the James Cook era. And wow, I got to tell you, Bills Mafia, when you have a running back like James Cook that does what he does, you got to think to yourself, holy moly, we might actually have something special. But let's do it one more time. We'll do it before we get to the stats. Let's go to our third quarter, fourth quarter breakdown. Third quarter, fourth quarter breakdown. Here we go. Let me share the screen when I have it up here. Once again, the Buffalo Bills victorious on the New Orleans Saints. 31-19 is your final. And here we go. I have the CBS app open just in case we don't have the right number of plays and we don't necessarily for the third quarter. We'll check in on the fourth quarter in a moment. But in the third quarter, I should say, of play, Josh Allen, you know, he likes to do this himself. On 11 plays here in the third quarter, on 11 plays for 90 yards, he coasts into the end zone for a 5-yard touchdown. Matt Prater, extra point, up and in the books. It is 21-10 Buffalo. Buffalo up by 11 now. Later in the third quarter, Spencer Rattler, short middle to Chris Olave for a 3-yard touchdown. They go for the 2-point conversion with Spencer Rattler going on the ground, and he is unable to complete the attempt. So the score will remain 21-16 Buffalo. Saints 16, Buffalo 21. After 3 quarters of play, it is 21-16 Buffalo. Let's go to the fourth. To the fourth we go. G hit a field goal from 54 yards in the second quarter. Has hit every extra point so far he has had. He had 1 in the first quarter. They went for 2 in the third quarter, didn't get it. In the fourth quarter, he gets another opportunity to hit a field goal. This one from 35 yards out on 9 plays, and he hits it from 35 yards. That makes it a 2-point game. It's a 1-possession game, but it's a 2-point game now. 20-19 Buffalo after the 35-yard field goal is through the roof and through for the points. Let's go to Buffalo scoring drives in the fourth quarter. 7 plays for Buffalo's first score of the fourth quarter. Allen looks for Kincaid. He's got Kincaid for a 28-yard touchdown. Matt Prater, extra point, up and good. 2019, they were up by 2 at 21-19. Now it's 28-19. Buffalo. Sorry, Bills up by 9 now. They eventually win this game by 12 points after a 14-play drive ends in a field goal by Matt Prater, a 35-yard field goal that he hits to put the 12 points on the board, and Buffalo will escape the Saints with a 31-18 win over the New Orleans Saints and remain one of the 2 undefeated remaining teams in the NFL season. The other undefeated club are the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles. They are the other big team that have yet to lose a game. All right, before we go game stats, or rather game totals, which will be provided via our scoreboard on our shared screen, we will have that for you. But first, let's go back into the locker room and hear from the man himself one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you our victory speech once again from Sean McDermott and company, celebrating being 4-0 as we await the Patriots. Enjoy.
Hey, man, that's a big-time win. At home, great freaking job, man. Proud of you guys. Give yourself a round of applause. Listen, I'm serious, man. You got to celebrate it. I know we're better, and we will be better. It's a great reminder that we have work to do. We got to stay humble every week, but you have to celebrate these wins because they are hard to come by. They're hard to come by, man, and we figured a way to win, and that's the important piece. Offense, defense, special teams. At the end of the day, in the second half, we started playing together. Not in the first half as much, but in the second half, we started playing together, and you see how hard you are to beat. Cole Bishop, first NFL interception. Get a game ball right here. We got a big-time celebration piece. Jimbo James Cook. Hang on. Broke a Bills all-time record. Great job. Appreciate you. O-line, tight ends, all those that block for him. Great job also. All right, hey, it's a great win, man. 1 o'clock win, right? Beautiful day in Western New York. It doesn't get any better than this, man. Stay humble. Keep finding ways to win.
As always. All right. Victory speech out of the way. I'm going to play it one more time later on in the show. So be sure to stick with us. My golly, what a win it was for our Buffalo team. My golly. You know what the best part, Bills Mafia, especially those who are Blue Jay fans, was about that win for Buffalo? After the football game went final, the Blue Jays clinched the division for the first time in 10 years. The Blue Jays are American League East Division champions. Also, they have the best record in the entire American League. More on the Blue Jays a little bit later as we proceed to close out. But we will be joined by the one, the only Thomas McGregor, who will be getting us ready to go for Miami and the Jets on our next edition of Blue Jays Weekly Recap, which this show follows. But if you tune into this before you tune into that, lot to celebrate on this Victory Monday for the Buffalo Bills. And of course, lot to celebrate on this week to celebrate being division champions for the Toronto Blue Jays. Here we go. All right, here we go. Let's keep it going here. I'll take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard from Sunday leading into Monday, including Sunday Night Football, which I understand went into overtime and finished in a tie. We'll get to that momentarily. But here we go. Time for the stats. The game stats. Here we go. Sharing the screen with our stats line up here. For the Saints quarterback, Spencer Rattler, 18 completions, 27 attempts, no picks, 3 sacks, 1 touchdown. Averaged 4.67 yards. Lost 17 yards because of the sacks, but threw for 126 yards. Chris Olave has a touchdown, but not in the air. 1 attempt picked off by Cole Bishop of the Buffalo Bills. His first career NFL interception. Way to go, Chris. Way to go, Cole. What a day for you. For the team, for the Saints, on the passing side, 18 completions, 28 attempts. 1 of those was picked off. That was by Cole Bishop of the Buffalo Bills. 126 yards passing, 66.7 completion percentage, average 4.6 on 65 plays. They totaled 298 yards, doing most of the yardage on the ground. The Saints were 0-2 on 4th down efficiency, 5 of 13 on 3rd down efficiency, 1 first down off of penalties for both Buffalo and the Saints. Saints had a time of possession of 28 minutes and 39 seconds. Bills with a time of possession 31 minutes and 21 seconds. They had 10 first downs passing, 9 first downs on the ground. First downs in total, including 1 penalty automatic first down. An automatic first down penalty for the Saints. They had 14 first down rushing first downs, 7 passing first downs. They ultimately win the first down battle 20. Buffalo, 3 of 10 on 3rd down. For 1 on 4th down, in the efficiency on 3rd and 4th down. Buffalo, though, winning the battle in total yardage with 356 yards total. 356 yards total. I wasn't going to say 500 yards. 356 yards total. Josh Allen. Let's go to the Bills side for a second. 16 completion attempts, 22 attempts, was picked off once, also sacked 3 times. He lost 18 yards as a result. 2 touchdowns in the air. Josh threw for 209 yards, getting 73 to the exact of his passing attempts. He was picked off once, but put 2 touchdowns in the air, 1 to Kincaid, 1 to Shakir, 2 TDs, 1 interception, was sacked 3 times, completed 72.73% of his passes, 209 yards. Let's go to the ground game. Buffalo rushing for 165 yards, 32 carries, including carries by James Cook, 22, 7 carries for Josh Allen, Ray Davis a carry, Aaron Johnson. Yeah, I believe that's nope, that's Ty Johnson. Ty Johnson a carry, nothing really going on there. Elijah Moore a carry, nothing going on. 2 TDs, 1 by Josh Allen by himself, and 1 by James Cook, all by himself. James Cook in 22 carries, rushed for 117 yards, averaged 5.32 yards per rush. 15 yards was his longest rush. Did not fumble the ball. Josh Allen, 45 yards on 7 carries, 1 touchdown, 6.43 yards average per run. Josh's longest run was 27 yards. Ray Davis, longest yardage, also what he averaged in his 1 carry, 3 yards. Nothing to say for Ty Johnson or Elijah Moore. Altogether, the longest run for Buffalo as a team was a 45-yard run. Bills averaged 14.75 yards per run. 2 TDs, running as a team for 165 yards, almost 200 yards, and also Josh Allen, I should say, with the only 20-plus yard gain on the ground. For the New Orleans Saints, running the ball, 34 rushes, 189 yards, 34 plays that were rushes, 32 Buffalo, average 5.2 yards per rush. 5.6 yards per rush for the Saints. The Saints were 2 for 4 in the red zone, 1 for 2 in goal-to-go efficiency. Goal-to-go efficiency for the Buffalo Bills, perfect. 2 for 2. They were 2 for 3 in the red zone. 55 yards in 11 penalties given to Buffalo. 4 penalties to the Saints for 41 yards. Both teams turned the ball over. Josh was picked off by a Saints defender, and Cole Bishop picks off Spencer Rattler. Chris Olave was the one that got picked off. The man responsible for the interception on Josh Allen, Jonas Sanker, picking up the interception. Only 1 fumble in the game on the New Orleans Saints side, but they recovered. 1 interception each thrown by Buffalo and New Orleans. Touchdowns. 4 touchdowns for Buffalo. 2 on the ground, 2 in the air. 1 to Dalton Kincaid for Buffalo. 1 to Kale Shakir, also for Buffalo. 2 touchdowns. 1 on the ground and 1 in the air. The touchdown in the air went to Chris Olave. Meanwhile, the touchdown on the ground, Kay Miller with the touchdown. Kendre Miller with the touchdown on the ground. All right, there you have it. Your game totals. One more thing, I gotta look down the rest of the way. No defensive special team touchdowns. Return yards. 4 return yards on the interception by Cole Bishop. No return yards on the interception by Jonas Zenker. Jonas S, I will say it. Jonas S. Jonas, if I pronounce your last name wrong, I apologize. 5 kick returns for the Saints. They have 134 yards. 95 yards for Buffalo on 4 kickoff returns. 1 punt return, 6 yards for Buffalo. 10 yards for the Saints in 1 punt return. No safeties, no yards again for the Saints on their interception, but 1 interception thrown by the Saints. That was thrown by Chris Olave, not Spencer Rattler, and that was intercepted by Cole Bishop. First career NFL interception for him. 4 yards on the return, and there we go. Team totals, game totals out of the way. When we return to Bills postgame, game balls of the game, Plus, who's next for Buffalo? Who's next for the Saints? I'll get you a look at the tweets showing who was inactive, if we could find them. Probably won't be able to find them now, but you know what? It doesn't matter. We'll get to who's next, as I said, for the Saints and the Buffalo Bills. And later, what else went down on Sunday before we get ready as we close out Bills postgame, before we get ready for a big Monday Night Football doubleheader. Broncos, Bengals, Jets, Dolphins, the out-of-town scoreboard, game balls of the game, play of the game. Who's next for the Saints and Bills when Bills postgame continues? Stay with us.
What a busy traffic on this Friday evening. I am almost stuck in this traffic for the last 40 minutes. And there is no way, I think, for me to get to the show. The CNT Radio Song Bank, which is going to start very shortly. It's one of my favorite shows. And my, what a way to wind down for the weekend. Perfect 2 hours of fun-filled music. And she has so many great features. Sound of Music, Undercover, Foreign Exchange, Name That Tune, and the big wheel that she spins for Who's That or Where Are We? We cannot forget about the international stage. I have never come across such a great show in my life. I think I will have to press hard on my accelerator and go as fast as I can to get home in time. Wow! Wow! Look! I made it! I am almost there! CNT Radio, making your day brighter, one song at a time.
Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches.
Looking for conversations on books and more, as well as tutorials on using your favorite devices and applications? You've come to the right place. Join us weekly on Spicy Techie, where Ali and Sienna provide insightful conversations, as well as useful tips and tricks to help you along on your technological journey. To learn more, tune into the show and like the Spicy Techie Facebook page. Search for Spicy Techie.
Buffalo winning 31-19 over the New Orleans Saints. It's something special. The Bills are 4-0. The New Orleans Saints, they are 0-4. Well, okay. First of all, Bills Mafia, this is something special for Buffalo. We have been waiting a long time for something special to happen. And it has happened before, but we haven't conquered the beast yet. Starting 4-0 this season is great. Again, Bills beat the Saints 31-19 on Sunday. When I did my victory reaction, I should have said Happy Victory Sunday to you, but I only did Victory Monday because, well, I was going to be coming to you live on a, maybe not live, but pre-recorded on a podcast post-game right after the game, even if it was the day after the game. Anyways, let's keep it up. It's great to get a win. Glory to God to get the win. We really did well in this ball game. We did. Game balls of the game in just a few minutes, but I promised you before the break that we were going to, after the break, jump into the week 4 schedule minus the Buffalo part of it. We talked about the 24-21 Steeler win over the Vikings, the 23-20 Seahawks win over the Cardinals. Other final scores include, as we go take a look at the out-of-town scoreboard, with 2 games coming up on Monday Night Football, include the 34-27 victory of the Falcons over the Commanders. Falcons will face the Bills in a primetime game 1 week from next Sunday before the Bills hit the bye. Who knows what our record will be, Bills Mafia, after Sunday against the Patriots and after the Monday night when we take on the Falcons. We will take you into that momentarily. But moving on in the out-of-town scoreboard, the Lions beat the Browns 34-10. The Titans go to 0-4 as they drop 20-0, 26-0 to the Houston Texans, who pick up their first win of the season. They are 1-3. The New England Patriots, who the Bills will face on Sunday Night Football next week, are 2-2. They They beat the Panthers 42-13. The Giants beat the Chargers 21-18 to improve to 1-3. Chargers to 3-1 after 4 weeks of action. As I mentioned, the Eagles taking on the Broncos next week. They are the other sole team with a 4-0 record. They beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 31-25 in a battle of 3-0 versus 3-0. The Buccaneers going into week 5 are 3-1. Eagles are Rams winning their 3rd game of the season. They are 3-1, beating the Colts 27-20. 3-1 are the Colts as well. 49ers are 3-1 as they beat the 3-1, the 3-0, I should say, Jaguars. Sorry, the Jaguars beat, who were 2-1. They beat the 2021. The Baltimore Ravens were 1-2. The Kansas City Chiefs were 1-2. Heading into this game, Kansas City picks up their 2nd win of the season. They are 2-2, beating the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson out due to a hamstring injury near the end of the game. The Chiefs knock off the Ravens 37-20. Close one between the Raiders and the Bears. The Bears are 2-2 after beating the Raiders 25-24. Raiders go to 1-3 with the loss. The Las Vegas Raiders. Dallas Cowboys and Green Bay Packers duking it out this week on Sunday Night Football. It was a 40-40 tie. This game went into overtime and ended in a tie at 40-40 each. So the team records going in were 2-1 for the Packers. They are now 2-1-1 going into their bye, as they will not play next week. Cowboys 1-2-1 going into next week, not on the bye. Still to come, the 0-3 Dolphins take on the 0-3 Jets. Both teams looking for their first win of the season. One team will get that win by the end of the action tonight. Meanwhile, the Denver Broncos going head-to-head with the 2-1 Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals are 2-1. The Broncos are 1 and 2. If the Bengals were to lose this game to the Broncos would go to 2 and 2, and the Bengals would go to 2 and 2. But if the Bengals win this game, Denver goes to 1 and 3, and the Bengals would go to 3 and 1. No matter who wins, Jets or Dolphins, one team will be 0 and 4, one team will be 1 and 3. Who's it gonna be? Miami or New York? I'll provide you my prediction for those Monday Night Football games momentarily. But first, it's time for the play of the game, brought to you by, even though we are not sponsored by it, if this was a hockey show, a Penguins show, it is brought to you by, as they would call it on the Penguins radio network, Rivers Casino, Pittsburgh's entertainment destination. Gambling problem, call 1. We are not sponsored by that, and we are not sponsored by the Penguins radio network. And keeping this to Buffalo, I am going to show you a highlight of this game. All credit to the NFL and all credit, yes, I say all credit to the teams of conversation, the Buffalo Bills and the New Orleans Saints. My play of the game, it's going to go to Josh Allen finding Dalton Kincaid for a 28-yard touchdown. All credit to CBS, and all credit to the NFL, New Orleans Saints, and of course, the Buffalo Bills. One more. Hold on one second before we get that going on here. I'm going to make sure that I share the screen for you to watch the action. Here's my play of the game. Game balls will follow shortly after. All right, here we go. Enjoy. My play of the game, Josh Allen goes to Dalton Kincaid for a 28-yard touchdown pass. At this point in time in the fourth quarter, it was the Bills on top 21-19. Indeed, he was wide open. What a play. And there you have it, your play of the game. All right, time now for your game balls of the game. But first, let's go ahead and take a look at the standings, both for the league and in the division. We'll start with the division and go by division for each club in the conversation. For the Buffalo Bills, they are 4-0 as we start in the AFC East. The New England Patriots are 2-2. They are 2-2. Both the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins, as we speak, are 0-3. One of them will be 0-4. The other will be 1-3. That question will be answered by the end of today. Over in the AFC North, as we start off with the American Football League, I should say, football conference rather. The Pittsburgh Steelers leading the charge in the AFC North at 3-1. Cincinnati Bengals at 2-1. They are probably going to be 3-1 if they can beat the Broncos. We'll talk about the Broncos in a second. The Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens, each with 3 losses and 1 win. So we have a tie there for third place in the AFC North. To the AFC South we go. The Tennessee Titans are 0-4. The tie-breaking leaders are the Jaguars and the Colts, each at 3-1 wins apiece and losses apiece. 3 wins for the Colts, 3 wins for the Jaguars, 1 loss for each team. Houston with 3 losses and 1 win to their name at 4 weeks into the season. Over to the AFC West, the Las Vegas Raiders 1-3, Denver Broncos 1-2. If they lose to the Denver would go to 1-3. If they were to lose that game, Denver. Kansas City 2-2. And leading the charge in the AFC West, it's the Los Angeles Chargers. Let's go to the National League, the National Football Conference. The NFC East leaders are the Philadelphia Eagles, with the Commanders stomping for second. Philadelphia is 4-0, same as Buffalo. The Washington Commanders are 2-2. The Dallas Cowboys 1-2. The New York Giants 1-3. And I should add to the Cowboys, they also have 1 tie, 2-1. Green Bay 2-1-1 as we move over to the NFC North. Currently being led by the Detroit Lions, who have 3 wins and only 1 losses. Only 1 loss, I should say. 2-2, Bears and the Vikings. Both of those teams with a record of 2-2, near the bottom of the barrel in the NFC North. Speaking of the bottom of the barrel, in the NFC West and NFC South, the New Orleans Saints are 0-4. The Carolina Panthers are number 3 in the NFC South with 1 win and 3 losses. 2-2 are the Falcons, who sit in the number 2 spot. And in the number 1 spot, it's the 3-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In the NFC West, the Arizona Cardinals, like the Atlanta Falcons, are 2-2 after 4 weeks of the season. The Los Angeles Rams, Seattle Seahawks, and San Francisco 49ers each have 3 wins and only 1 loss. So it's a 3-way tie for the NFC West. Alrighty, division out of the way. Let's go to the conference. In the American Football Conference, let's see what we got. The top dog in the American Football Conference is your Buffalo Bills. Bills Mafia. We are the top dogs in our division, but also in the conference, which in the league would mark us in the number 2 seed at 4-0 because the Philadelphia Eagles are also 4-0. In the number 2 seed for the American Football Conference, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-1. The Los Angeles Chargers also 3-1. Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars. The Cincinnati Bengals are 2-1. They could also be 3-1 at the end of the night if they beat the Denver Broncos. Speaking of the Denver Broncos, they are behind the Chiefs and Patriots, who sit at Denver is 1-2. At 1-3, we have the Browns, Ravens, Texans, and Raiders, each team with 1 win each and 3 losses. 2 teams that are 0-3 will become 1 team that ends up with the same record as the Tennessee Titans, 0-4, at the very bottom of the barrel. But the question is, who's it going to be? Is it going to be Miami or is it going to be the Jets? Both teams are 0-3, having yet to play in Week 4. In the National Football Conference, the top dogs are the Philadelphia Eagles at 4-0. San Francisco 49ers at 3-1. Detroit Lions at 3-1. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 3-1. Seattle Seahawks at 3-1. Los Angeles Rams at 3-1. The Green Bay Packers 2-1-1. 2-2 are the Minnesota Vikings, the Atlanta Falcons, Arizona Cardinals, Chicago Bears, and Washington Commanders. At 2-1-1 are the Cowboys of Dallas. 2 teams at 1-3. They are the Giants, the New York Football Giants, and the Carolina Panthers. And right there at the bottom of the barrel are the New Orleans Saints at 0-4. So the teams in the league that are at bottom of the barrel most likely, but they could find a way to make that not the case. They are the Tennessee Titans, the New York Jets, the New Orleans Saints, Miami Dolphins, and going up the list, you got the Giants, Raiders, Texans, Browns, Panthers, Ravens, Broncos, Cowboys, Commanders, Patriots, Vikings, Chiefs, Bears, Falcons, Cardinals, Packers, Buccaneers, Seahawks, 40 Steelers, Rams, Chargers, Jaguars, Colts, Lions, Eagles. I stand corrected. Bills Mafia. We're number 1 in the division, number 1 in the conference, and we're the number 1 dog in the league. We are the best team in football, ahead of the best team in football in the National Football League Conference, the NFC, and the defending Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles. We are the top dog in the AFC East, in the AFC Conference, the American Football Conference. And we are the top dog in the National Football League, in the entire National Football League. Something special is gonna be happening. At 4-0, I think it's pretty safe to say, Bills Mafia, that we will be playoff bound. But let's not go too far ahead of ourselves. There's still a lot of football to be played, and a lot can happen over the course of an 18-week season with a bye week in between. Speaking of the bye for Buffalo is 2 weeks away. They will have the Patriots on Sunday Night Football this Sunday, October 5th, 2025. And then next Monday night after that, the Monday night following, whoever's on Monday Night Football next week, it's Buffalo versus Atlanta in Atlanta. And right now, fans, as you may have saw when I had the records up there through the standings, Buffalo's record at home is 3-0 for this season, 2-0 against the division, 3-0 against conference, and on the road at the Jets. They're the only team so far the Bills have played on the road. They are 1-0 on the road. So let me run that down for you one more time. Buffalo's record at home this season, 3-0 against the division, including the Jets, Dolphins, and coming up the Patriots. Bills are 2-0 as we speak. On the road, 1-0. The team in the National Football League that is second to Buffalo's top seed are the Philadelphia Eagles. They are 2-0 on the road and at home against the division. Against division opponents, against non-conference. All right, time now for the game balls of the game. This will lead us to setting up the final 2 weeks before Buffalo hits the bye. And of course, what is next for the 0-4 New Orleans Saints, which won't have a bye until week 11. Buffalo's bye week is week number 7. Week 11, the Saints are out of action until week 12. For Buffalo, they will only play the Saints once this year, and they have defeated the Saints. So, who's next for the Saints? Who's next for Buffalo? You'll find out when we take the break, but before we get there, time now for game balls of the game. They are what we call our player of the game segment. So, without further ado, here are your 3 players for New Orleans and Buffalo receiving game balls of the game. First and foremost, on the New Orleans Saints side, got to give credit to the quarterback, Spencer Rattler. Not a good showing for him, but hey, at least he did not get picked off. 100 on the 18 completions. Yes, he got sacked and lost 17 yards on 3 times. Excuse me, but hey, he did what he had to do. Chris Olave, I'm not even sure why, I shouldn't say I'm not really sure why I should say I'm not really sure why the Saints wanted to do the trick play, because Cole Bishop picked up on it and he picked off Chris Olave, who, by the way, is going to get a game ball of the game for the New Orleans Saints. Chris Olave is going to get a game ball along with Spencer Rattler. But the reason why is because when Chris Olave did not throw the ball, he was targeted 6 times and made 3 catches for the Saints. On his 6 targets, 20 yards as a result, averaged 6 yards per catch, 6.7 yards per catch. 1 TD for Chris Olave. That was the only TD on the ground, on the air, I should say. 10 yards, the longest catch. And how about the guy who came up with the pick, Jonas Zanker, Jonas S. An interesting pick, by the way, by him. But hey, Josh Allen, so far this season, until the 4th game, hadn't been picked off this season. He has 7 touchdowns this season, 964 yards, and now only 1 pick. In the Miami game, 2 against Baltimore and 2 against the Saints this week. And speaking of Josh Allen, our 3 recipients for the Saints are Spencer Rattler, Chris Olave on the passing side as a wide receiver, and the game ball of the game for the Saints. For the victorious Buffalo Bills, congratulations to him. Cole Bishop, you're going to get a game ball as well. First career NFL interception. Wow. Talk about a game to do it. And you did in front of the home Bills Mafia crowd. Something special. And last but certainly not least, your quarterback, number 17, Josh Allen. 16 completions on 22 attempts, 209 yards passing, 9.5 yards average, 2 TDs, 1 pick. Saints saw the Bills secondary get to Spencer Rattler 3 times for a sack. They lost 17 yards because of that. But it's great to see the Bills get to the quarterback, and that's what you're going to need in the postseason, even in playoffs, I should say. All right, Allen, Cook, Bishop for the Bills on the game ball side. Play of the game went to Allen and went to Josh Allen and Dalton Kincaid's 28-yard completion attempt for a touchdown. Before we go to break, our last break of the show, which will be taken in by, once again, the Sean McDermott victory speech, which we're going to play for you in a moment. When we return to Bills postgame, who's up next for the Saints? Who's up next for the Bills? Can anyone stop Buffalo? Bills Mafia, I got to tell you, I'm not going to say we're a Super Bowl team yet. I'm not going to say that. Not going to say that yet. Not yet. Let's keep it going, but I'm not going to say it just yet. I'm not going to say it just yet. I got to tell you, this team is something special. And with that said, I'll also remind you that right after the break, before we get to what's next for Buffalo and what's next for the Saints, I will predict who I believe is going to win Jets versus Bills and Broncos versus Bengals. Our Victory Monday Bills postgame show as the Bills improve to 4-0 and send the Saints to with a 31-19 victory continues in just a moment. To take us to break, I told you we were going to play it, and we're going to stay true to that promise. Sean and everybody in the Bills locker room, take us to break.
Hey, man, that's a big-time win. At home, great freaking job, man. Proud of you guys. Give yourself a round of applause. Listen, I'm serious, man. You got to celebrate it. I know we're better, and we will be better. It's a great reminder that we have work to do. We got to stay humble every week, but you have to celebrate these wins because they are hard to come by. They're hard to come by, man, and we figured a way to win, and that's the important piece. Offense, defense, special teams. At the end of the day, in the second half, we started playing together. Not in the first half as much, but in the second half, we started playing together, and you see how hard you are to beat. All right, let's celebrate a couple of things. Number one, your freaking will to win, man, is incredible. Great job. Cole Bishop, first NFL interception. We got get a game ball right here. We got a big-time celebration piece. Jimbo James Cook. Hang on. Broke a Bills all-time record. Great job. Appreciate y'all. Goal line, tight ends, all those that block for him. Great job also. All right, hey, it's a great win, man. 1 o'clock win, right? Beautiful day in Western New York. It doesn't get any better than this, man. Stay humble. Keep finding ways to win. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Looking for a sports podcast that covers sports weekly as well as gets you set up for the day? Check out Weekly in Sports with me, Scott McGregor. We give some shout-outs of the week to podcasts like this one and those who do them. Discuss the Blue Jays, Bills, Raptors, and more. To learn more, check out the Sports for Beginners Facebook page. Search Sports for Beginners.
Take another look with Gerda Felix and Melanie Taddeo Malo. 2 powerful women of diverse backgrounds having genuine, unique, and uncomfortable conversations that everyone needs to have. Join Melanie and Gerda for conversations about what is missing from human connections.
Looking for a good hockey podcast that covers your favorite hockey teams and mine? Check out On the Ice and Behind the Benches, where we chat about our favorite hockey teams from puck drop to the last play of the action. To learn more, follow the On the Ice and Behind the Benches Facebook page. Search On the Ice and Behind the Benches. All right, folks, welcome back. Bills beat the New Orleans Saints 31-19. They are undefeated, 4-0, 3-0 at home. Division 2-0 against the AFC East. That's the American Football Conference East Division. 1-0 on the road, 3-0 at home. We have victories against the Ravens, the Saints, and, of course, the Miami Dolphins. All 3 wins at home. The Ravens made us sweat in week 1 for that week 1 dub. Final score of that week, in case we want to remind everybody of that, it was 41-40. Buffalo coming up with the victory. Then we pulled a 20 burger on the Jets, beating the Jets 30-10. That was on the road. Then we beat the Dolphins 31-21 last week. And this week, 12-point winners over the New Orleans Saints, 31-19. And to top it all off, as I mentioned off the top of the show, during the show, I should say, when that game ended, shout out to my boy Ernie Clement and the Toronto Blue Jays, who we are going to talk about on Blue Jays Weekly Recap. The icing on the cake was that the minute that game ended and I got back to focusing on baseball, which I was watching at the time of the Bills game, I did not watch the game, but I monitored as much as I could, with maybe seeing a bit of snippets of it while I was at the Blue Jays game, getting ready for that game to get going. Rays and the Blue Jays, that was the finale game on the day of Bills versus Saints. But the cherry on top of it all was the Blue Jays found a way to beat the Rays by a pretty impeccable score. You want to know what the final was? 13-4 Blue Jays over the Rays. Their record at the end of the season, 94 wins, 68 losses. Tampa Bay's record at the end of the season, 77 wins, 85 losses. We'll talk about it all on Blue Jays Weekly Recap. We're going to be joined by host of Dolphins Postgame, host of On the Ice and Behind the Benches, to talk about it. He may join us. If he does not join us, it'll just be myself. But with that being said, that was the cherry on top for me. The Bills win, and then, of course, the Blue Jays win and win the division, mind you, because even if the Yankees lost that game on Sunday, Blue Jays held the tiebreaker over the Yankees, which means they are, for the first time in 10 years, 2025, 10 years ago, the Blue Jays were AFC, they were not AFC, they were American League champions, division champions. Oh, by the way, they had the best record in the American League besides Seattle, who also won their division. It was 2015, the last time the Toronto Blue Jays were American League East champions 10 years ago, but they also won the American League, and now they, like Seattle, are sitting back waiting to enjoy a postseason show that's sure to be a good one. Find out who's in the postseason and who the Mariners, Blue Jays, and everyone else in the National League that got the bye will be awaiting on Blue Jays Weekly Recap. But with that said, it's time to put Bills postgame to a close. Before we do that, it's time for the Monday Night Football prediction. Buffalo played on Sunday, so did the Patriots. Tonight, it's the 0-3 Jets against the 0-3 Dolphins. One team will remain winless at the end of the evening. The other will finally get the first dub of the season. The last time these two teams met at Hard Rock Stadium, or rather the last matchup that they had, which was on January the 4th, 2025, That was at MetLife Stadium, excuse me. And the New York Jets beat the Dolphins 30-20 last time around. I'll just double check that here by sharing the screen. Sorry, 32-20 was the final score the last time the Jets and the Dolphins played each other. And we'll add to that here, I'll add here quickly on the other end, I'll add quickly the Bengals and Broncos side. We'll get to that in a moment. But once again, for teams like Miami and New York, you're both 0-3. You could say the division is on the line, but if the division were on the line, it will be later in the season. So with that said, who do I think is going to win this one at Hard Rock Stadium? Well, honestly, we don't like any of these teams. If we're with the Buffalo Bills in the same conference, we don't like any of these clubs, so we could care less what happens here. But if I had to choose, I think this is going to be a 10-point game, and I think Miami gets out of the slump here of the 0-3 slump. I think they beat the Jets 30-20. I think the Jets go to 0-4. They will drop 30-20 to the Dolphins. Dolphins at home. I understand that Jalen Waddle is probably going to play, even though last week against Buffalo, he played hurt. And you know what? If he's going to play, he's going to play. So yeah, I'm going 30-20, Miami over the Jets. Let's flip it over to the Broncos and the Bengals. Broncos 1-2, Bengals 2-1. Cincinnati not far behind the Steelers, just by one loss as far as the AFC North is concerned. Last week, they lost 48-10 after starting the season. The Broncos started 1-0 and then lost the last two matchups they played in, 29-28 and 23-20 last week. They are the game at 8:15 p.m. The Jets and Dolphins at 7:15 p.m. Last time the Broncos and Bengals played each other was December 27th, 2024, where the Bengals beat the Broncos 30-24. I think this one has an opportunity of going either way, but I'm going to go Bengals by 7. Give me the Bengals at 28-21. I do believe that Denver has an opportunity to upset them, to upset the Bengals, even though the Broncos are at home at Empower Field at Mile High. I believe things are going to go maybe Denver's way, but I'm going to go Bengals 28-21. And as I said, for the Jets, who beat the Dolphins last time out 32-20 back on January the 4th, 2025, earlier this year when we were in the 2024-2025 season last year. I think the Jets go 0-4. The Dolphins get that first dub. I think they win this 30-20. I think they win. I really do. So let me just recap my prediction for Monday Night Football. Bengals 28-21 winners over the Denver Broncos. Dolphins 30-20 victors over the Jets on Monday Night Football. All right, next week, who's up for that? We're going to go to the Week 5 schedule to find out who's got next for both of these clubs. Of course, as I mentioned, the Bills bye week coming up in a week time. They will have Monday Night Football following next week is against the Falcons. We will know where the Falcons stand by the end of next week going into that game. But without further ado, here we go. Starting with the Saints, we'll go to the Saints next week opponents. They have a couple of afternoon games coming up, including next week against the Giants. Giants played on Sunday. They will play again on Sunday next week. They are 1-3. The Saints 0-4. Bills will play the 2-2 Patriots on Sunday Night Football. Speaking of the 2-2 Patriots, the week after the Giants play the Saints, the Giants will trade the Saints for another team, and the Saints will trade teams with Buffalo for the Patriots. Patriots will be playing The Saints come that week, following next week against the Giants. Then they are at the Bears, versing the Buccaneers at home. Both games on Fox. Both games are afternoon games. They are at the Rams. Week 9, they are at the Rams. Week 8, they are playing the Buccaneers. Week number 7, when the Bills hit the bye, they are at the Bears. And these 2 weeks coming, including next week, they are hosting the Giants and then hosting the Patriots. Real quick for Buffalo, back-to-back primetime games on the slate before the Buffalo Bills hit the bye week. The Saints are on the bye in week 11. Buffalo will be going down the stretch, but they get the bye in week number 7. First, it's the final game of a 3-game homestand for Buffalo as they take on the 2-2 Mike Vrabel Patriots. Mike Vrabel Patriots are coming to Buffalo. They are 2-2. They will take on the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football, this coming Sunday Night Football. And then next time on Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football after the Bills play on Sunday Night Football for the final time this season. They have another Thursday Night Football game. To my knowledge, their last one of the season. That will be against the Texans, but that is coming down the road. First, they got Patriots next week on Sunday, and then Falcons on Monday Night Football in week number 6 on October 13th, 2025. That is Canadian Thanksgiving. And guess what? I will have a show for you on Tuesday after that game. Before they kick off, the Monday Night Football game off, but we will be back with that for you when the Texans go to battle against the Buffalo Bills. Patriots also have the week off, so I will be moving before they kick off for the Patriot game to a Thursday when the Bills take on the Texans in Houston. That is a Thursday Night Football showdown. 4 weeks after the bye, actually 5 weeks after the bye week, because the Bills will play the Panthers after the bye on week 7. Then they got the Chiefs week 9. One final showdown with McDaniel and the Dolphins, should he still be the coach by then, in week number 10. Week 11, it's the Buccaneers, and then week number 12, Texans versus Bills. Then you've got Steelers, Bengals, Patriots, Browns, Eagles, and Jets the rest of the way. One game at a time. Bills are 4-0. They'll look to go 5-0. The Patriots, can they do it? I believe so. That is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this episode of Bills Postgame. We'll have another one for you following Sunday Night Football's game. And as we roll into talking baseball for the Blue Jays, they will be in action Saturday in the MLB Divisional Series against either the Red Sox or the Yankees. We'll talk about that all on Blue Jays Weekly Recap. If these shows don't launch today on Monday, as of the time of our recording, they will likely launch Tuesday or Wednesday. And by then, hopefully, we will have a decision as to who the Blue Jays will be playing in the Divisional Series of the MLB playoffs. But as for Buffalo, Bills Postgame is back with you after the Patriot game, which will be on a Monday, time permitting. We are back with you Tuesday after the Falcons and Bills game as well. Patriots first, then we'll get to the Falcons. Can Buffalo go undefeated heading into the bye? They're 4-0. They get 2 more weeks of playing games, and then they're off for a week before a stretch run of a couple of games, including Panthers, Chiefs, Dolphins, Buccaneers, and Texans. And we will have it for you as much as we can. For now, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy yourselves this week. If you love baseball, enjoy Monday Night Football. If you love football and you're going to tune in, if you're a football fan, a Bills fan, whatever it is that you cheer for, I will catch you, Bills Mafia, after Sunday Night Football. Bills, Patriots, McDermott versus Mike Vrabel. That's gonna be fun. Until then, have a great week, everybody, especially for Bills fans. Go Bills! and I look forward to catching up with you again real soon. Play shout. We're 4-0. Let's see if we can make it 5-0 next week. Peace. Thank you so much for listening to Sports for Beginners. If you would like to learn more about the show, you can visit the podcast Facebook page or visit the official website. You can also send us an email at sportsforbeginnerspodcast8231@gmail.com. As we always remind you, it is not goodbye, it is until next time.